Hey guys, today we're going to do the unboxing and overview of the Hifiman HE1000, and this is the V2 edition. There is many different versions of this headphone. It's a very high-end open back headphone by Hifiman. So for those of you guys who don't know, Hifiman is a Chinese headphone company. Well, they make more than the headphones. They also make amps, and they used to make DAPs or digital audio players as well. But these days, probably most well known for their planar magnetic headphones. And they've been a pioneer in making planar magnetics. I remember back, I think it was like the late 2000s, Hifiman and Audis are probably the two most well known planar magnetic headphone makers. And yeah, this is actually maybe pretty close to their flagship. Their flagship headphone is the Sasvara, which is a $6,000 headphone, which I've tried before actually. Those are really good headphones. This is the third most expensive headphone, I would say, because after the Sasvara, there is the HE1000 SEs, which is like a special edition, differently tuned version with more detail and everything. And this is the V2s, which are a step below that. But technically these V2s are not being produced anymore because now they have the HE1000 Stealth, which is, I guess, also considered the V3, since that's what it technically is. But this is the older version V2. Originally retailed for, I think, over $2,000, but now retails for, well, discontinued, right? But at the time of discontinued, it was retailing for $1,400, which is still the price of the HE1000 Stealth now, aka the V3. So anyways, I picked up a V2. There's actually a really long story behind how I got this one. Basically, me and my friend were looking for a Hifiman HE1000 because we tried the Hifiman Aryas before. I had the Arya Stealth. If you guys remember my previous video, the Hifiman Arya Stealth was probably my best sounding open back headphones I did in that test. And we did a comparison against a whole bunch of other headphones, and yeah, the Hifiman Arya Stealth was my favorite among that bunch. I think the other ones were the Full Cow Clears and the Meze 109 Pros and the Bear Dynamic T ones. So yeah, the Hifiman Arya Stealth won pretty handily. Me and my friend, my audiophile friend, both found it easily the best sounding out of them all. And he said it was very comparable on the same tier as his Sennheiser HD800s, which are a very top tier headphone, which are also open back. So then we were curious about the HE1000s and we wanted to get our hands on one. And yeah, we went to Craigslist and we found the seller who was selling the actually he wasn't selling the HE1000s, he was selling all these other headphones. So we were interested because he was selling them at such good prices. So we went to meet him. Turns out that he is the co-owner of headphones.com, and he actually invited us over. We tested a whole bunch of headphones, including the HE1000 V2s, these ones, and really liked them. So basically we were at his place testing out all these different headphones. We really liked the Hifiman HE1000s. I actually kind of prefer these to the Sasvaras, even though the Sasvaras are way more expensive, just because these ones are a little bit more fun sounding to me. The Sasvaras are tuned like very, very neutral, and I don't really like that neutral tone, even though the Sasvara is, of course, a better headphone technically. But I do like the sound signature of the HE1000s a bit better in the tuning. So yeah, I really like these headphones, probably more than all the others I tested there. I also tried the Final Audio D8000s, the Headphone 2s, the Meze Elites, like all these really expensive headphones. But I really like the HE1000s V2s actually. And he didn't have the Stealth. I didn't get to try the Stealth, unfortunately, but I really like the V2s. And yeah, we asked him like, how much is that? Are you going to sell it? And he was willing to sell it to us for like $750 US, which is an incredible deal for this headphone, which is normally selling for $1,400 if you can even find it, right? It's discontinued. But then we didn't have that cash on hand. He only wanted cash. So we told him to like, we're going to text him and come back next day to buy them. So the next day we texted him. He didn't respond after that. He basically just ignored us. We kept texting him throughout the whole week. We really wanted these headphones badly from him, and he just kept ignoring us and avoiding us. So then I just decided to look on Craigslist again. I said, okay, this guy's avoiding us. I'm just going to look for other good headphone deals. Found a pair of Full Cow Radiants, and I actually did a video on those too, the Full Cow Radiants. Nice, very nice closed backs, and he was selling them for very cheap too. Turns out that guy, I messaged him, he said, oh, he actually was the other co-owner of the headphones.com. Turns out he was the other co-owner. So it's very interesting. We managed to meet up with him. And then even though he wasn't selling this headphone, we knew he had this headphone. So we kind of just, you know, slid that little conversation tidbit in there, just try to question him to get him to reveal the fact that he did have these headphones. And we were just asking, okay, do you have these headphones? Do you have the HE1000s? We got him to actually bring down these headphones, because we actually knew he had two of them, one for each of us. So yeah, he originally wasn't selling those headphones, and he originally never advertised that he had the HE1000s, but because we knew the other guy, we kind of knew that he actually did have these headphones. So we kind of just like, you know, kind of persuaded him to bring down these headphones and give it to us and sell it to us at that same price. It's a pretty incredible backstory behind how we got these headphones. So that's how badly we wanted these, by the way. Like, we kept texting the other guy, he wouldn't respond. We thought he was just ghosting us. Thankfully and luckily, we found another guy in Craigslist somehow who it just happens to be the co-worker or co-owner of that other headphones.com, and he was in the same working space and everything, and we just kind of lucked out that way, and we ended up getting the headphones that we wanted. Yeah, all we wanted to do was buy these headphones off of the guy, and he wouldn't respond to us. So we just luckily had to lucked out actually finding a guy who was the other co-owner of the shop. You know, what are the chances? Okay, anyways, that's a little bit of backstory behind how we got these. These are really good sounding headphones, and these versions, the V2 comes in this really nice box. The Stealths don't come in this nice of a box. The Stealths just have these very simple cardboard box. They say it's to save materials or whatever, but we all know the V2 box is better. I mean, just look at this. This is a much better looking box. Definitely one that's fitting for this price, this class of headphone. So yeah, that's the one thing. I never tried the Stealths before, but at least I know that the V2s come in a better box. All right, let's open it up, and this is what we get inside here. So here we go. Should I do it this way? Okay. Anyways, okay, so this is what you get inside. So you get Hifiman limited warranty here, and then you get the Hifiman V2 owner's guide. I'm not sure if the Stealth comes with something this nice either, but this is a pretty nicely done booklet here. It looks, yeah, see, this packaging is what I'm expecting the Stealth should be like, but unfortunately Hifiman with their newer headphones, they just put in the simpler cardboard box like the one you guys saw from my Arya Stealth. Yeah, they should really go back to this nicer packaging. Okay, so here's nice thank you, and ooh, nice full page. This is like, this booklet is yeah, it's a nice small decent sized booklet here that they gave us. Really nice here. So yeah, world's first diaphragm, nanometer thickness, patented window shade system. That's their special design for their planar magnetics. And Hifiman planar magnetics are very distinctive. They're noticeably different than Audi's phaser system, I think. And Dan Clark also has their own system that's patented or whatever. But Hifiman definitely has a distinctive look. It's different than Dan Clark or Audi's. Yeah. Headband. The ergonomic, comfortable headband. I actually never found Hifimans to be that comfortable. The most comfortable planar magnetics by far is Dan Clark's. So Dan Clark's planar magnetics have always been very, very comfortable. Audi's, not comfortable. Hifiman, it's in between. Not as uncomfortable as Audi's, but not as comfortable as Dan Clark's either. Cables, I'm glad that Hifiman uses the standard 3.5mm connectors. That's good. No proprietary stuff there. We got some random pictures. Don't know what those have to do with the headphone, but get ear pads. So I'm just gonna test it out with the stock ear pads, 1000 V2s. Ear cups, craftsmanship, the weight. Yep, these are definitely, I think, better build quality than the Aryas, but Hifiman's not known for having really good build quality either. So yeah, definitely not compared to some other headphones at this price range, right? There's like a lot of Japanese high-end headphones like Audio Technicas and Denons and stuff that are, you know, noticeably better build quality. So anyways, here it is. And yeah, like I said, this packaging is really, really nice. I really wish they would have kept this packaging for the newer Hifimans, but yeah, this is an older model, so yeah, you get this really nice packaging, at least for this one. Okay, so yeah, this box Super nice packaging for this box. Wish they still had this kind of box for the newer Hifiman headphones. Comes with 2 sets of cables here. So it comes with, yeah, so like I said, it uses 3.5mm connectors, which are pretty standard. It's also used by Denon and Focal and a few other headphones, I think. So it comes with one that has a 1/4 inch jack or 6.35mm jack, and then it comes with one with just a standard 3.5mm jack. I think these are going to be fairly hard to drive, so I'm going to actually switch these out for a balanced connection, because I do have a balanced connection for my Hifiman Aryas, and I'll probably be using that to test these, because I'm thinking if it's like the Aryas, it's really going to like more power, so I really do need to have a balanced connector. So I can compare it to the Arya Stealths. So these are the Hifiman Arya Stealths. They're the next headphone tier down from the HE1000s. So yeah, I really like the Arya Stealths, by the way. That's part of the reason why me and my friend were both interested in the HE1000s, because we heard the Arya Stealths and they were amazing. So we thought, oh man, what must be the next step up from that? So that's the HE1000 V2s, or the Stealths, I guess. So yeah, yeah, we just managed to find this one at such a good deal. We could not pass it up. Kind of crazy story. We had to get this at that price. So yeah, the window shade design, as you can see, is common to both of them. But between the two, the thing you'll notice is the fact that the HE1000s is noticeably better build quality, and they have this wood veneer. So this one is... Now, I've seen different pictures of the lighter colored wood, but this one, yeah, I can tell this one uses a little bit darker colored veneer here. And of course, the Aryas don't have any of that. Aryas actually are quite flimsy. Yeah, so the headband for the Aryas are quite flimsy. Yeah, not great build quality for the Aryas. These are great sounding headphones, but the build quality is definitely one of the weak points. And I won't say it's that comfortable either. So not especially comfortable. But yeah, they have the stealth magnets. This is at least I have the stealth version of the Aryas. So yeah, really nice sounding headphones. So yeah, I wonder the HE1000s, what the difference is going to be. I haven't actually directly compared, which I will do in this video. But definitely these are nicer, better build quality. Yeah, this is not sure what this material is, but it's not like, it looks like metal, but I don't know, it could be aluminum or something like that. This is definitely more like stainless steel. So yeah, definitely step up in quality here. These are not using stealth magnets, so that's one difference. But definitely better build quality for sure. And yeah, the 3.5mm jacks. Ear cups, roughly, I would say not that different between the two. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's in terms of comfort. Yeah, these ear cups are pretty decent. Although you can always replace them with a Dakoni or whatever if you don't like them. So, anyways, yeah, the Hifiman Arya and the Stealth. Now I'm going to compare them directly against each other and tell you guys what I think. And yeah, stay tuned. Alright, so now I'm going to test out these two Hifiman headphones, the Arya Stealth versus the HE1000 V2s. And I'll be using my Hibi RS6 DAP as the source. It's a pretty nice DAP. I think it's around $1,400 originally. Paid $1,200 for it. But yeah, still a pretty expensive DAP with a nice DAC inside of it, custom R2R architecture. So yeah, one other thing I forgot to note, by the way, is how do you know which one's right and which one's left? Some of these headphones companies makes it really confusing, but fairly easy for Hifiman, because you can just see from the yeah, the inside of the headband here. Like this one says right here, this one says left right here. So easy to tell. Same thing on the HE1000s, right? This one says left, this one says right here. So it's very easy to tell just inside of the headbands. Unfortunately, one thing I wish they could have done is tell you more about the model. So if you have a stealth version versus a non-stealth version, you don't actually know. You can't tell very easily. You kind of have to look at the magnets, I guess. But yeah, it would have been better if Hifiman just tell you the model inside of here as well. Instead, they don't. Yeah, they just say, okay, this one says Arya, this one says Hifiman, but it doesn't say anywhere on it that's a stealth. The only reason I know it's a Stealth is because I have the original box for it. So I know that this was originally Stealth, but not on the headphone. If you just have the headphone itself, you have no idea actually how to check whether it's an actual Stealth or not. And yeah, me and my friend were confused. If we didn't have the box, it would have taken us a long time to know whether or not this was actually a V2 or a V2 Stealth, or V3, I guess. It's really hard to know. Again, like they only tell you the model HE1000 and Hifiman on it. But how do you know whether or not it's a Stealth? Yeah, I wish they would have told you the actual model on it, because there's so many revisions, right? And all the revisions do sound different from each other. So yeah, anyways. Yeah, I have the balance connector here, 4.4 millimeter, because I know that these Hifimans do require some power to drive. All right, now I'm going to test it out. So first with the Arya Stealth, which I know there's a newer version of the Aryas now called the Arya Organics, which are just basically a more V-shaped version of these. So these are, I believe, fairly reasonably balanced. The tuning is reasonably balanced, not exactly neutral, but balanced in a way where you do hear, like, you know, some bass and some treble, and like it's a little bit of a soft V curve, but not that much. So the Stealths, they're reasonably balanced. Like they do have bass, they do have treble, and you know, you can hear the mids very well. But yeah, the new organic version just makes it more of a V curve. Like you just push up the bass a little bit and the highs a little bit. So I think that's the main difference. And I've listened to the organics actually, and I actually prefer the Stealth still. So yeah, anyways, I'm just going to listen to Stealth again. Okay. Wow, that's all I gotta say. Just wow, these headphones are amazing. Yeah, the Arya Stealth. The tuning, I love it. It's just that they balanced it just right. It's not like a totally flat or neutral thing. Like one of the reasons I don't like the Sennheiser HD800s as much as, you know, some other people is because it's a little bit too neutral for me. It's a little bit too flat sounding, too reference, too neutral. Same thing with the Susvaras actually. They're both very technical. Like the HD800s and the Susvaras, you know, some of the most technical headphones out there. But yeah, it's just tuned a little bit too flat for me. I just want something a little bit more lively, fun sounding. But the Arya's Stealths, yeah, they don't have too much bass, they don't have too much treble. It's just enough. Like they just added just enough to make it fun, and that's what I like about it. It's a really great tuning, and I like it better than the organic version, like I said, because the organics, I felt like they messed with something that didn't need to be messed with. They added more bass, they added more treble, they made it more V-shaped, and I don't know why, because this was already perfect. They didn't need to add more. So anyways, I like the Stealths, my favorite versions of the Aryas, and just these were just some of my favorite open backs, period. I mean, especially at the price point, they're selling these for $900 MSRP now. It used to be $1,500, I think, or $1,600. Yeah, the Hifiman slashed down the price. Now it's selling for just $900. You can find it even cheaper. I bought these for $650, which is really amazing for this price. Like, yeah, like at its price, it's probably the best headphone. You can't go wrong with the Aryas. Like the Arya Stealths, for $900 MSRP, there's no headphone that sounds better than this. Like if you haven't heard any, you know, any like upper tier headphone in the $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 range, you wouldn't know that there's something better, because once you try this, you're like, what's better than this, right? This is already so good. It's super good. Soundstage is super wide. Detail retrieval is really good. It's really nicely balanced tuning. Like, man, I just love the Arya Stealth. Really good headphone. And that's why me and my friend were so like interested about the next level up, the HE1000s, right? Because you're like, what could sound better than this, right? These already sound super good. So anyways, now we're about to find out what can sound better than this, right? The Arya Stealths already sound really, really good. Okay, well, HE1000, HE1000 V2s. I have to be careful because there's a few different versions, right? There's the Stealths and there's the HE1000 SEs. And the SEs are just a different tier. They're a higher tier than this. The Stealths are just the next revision, but the SEs are just a different tier. And I haven't listened to the SEs yet. Okay. All right. Now let's try the HE1000 V2s. All right. Okay. These definitely need more power to drive than the Arya Stealth. Okay, yeah, the HE1000 V2 is really nice. Okay, so I think here's the difference between the two. So to be fair to the Arya Stealth, these are really nice headphones. Just and once you listen to these, they're like, wow, incredible. You know, how can anything be better than this? You listen to the HE1000 V2s. I would say that the difference between these two is not that big. It's like we really are starting to get into diminishing returns. Once you get into like these really upper tier headphones, it's really diminishing returns because the gap between these are not that big. It's just that the HE1000 V2s, I haven't tried the Stealths yet, but the V2s, they sound smoother and more refined and a little bit flatter than the Aryas, but not totally neutral stuff. It's still not like, you know, Susvara or HE800 level. It's not that level of flatness. So there's still like a little bit of fun in here, a little bit lively, but not as much as the Aryas. These are still a little bit more fun sounding, I think. But the presentation is definitely more smoother and refined with the HE1000 V2s. Yeah, I think that's the main difference that stands out to me. The details are a little bit better on these. So this is a more technical headphone for sure. The details are definitely, detail retrieval is a little bit better. Soundstage wise, pretty close actually. Soundstage is close. These ones definitely have a bit more detail and it just sounds a little bit smoother and refined. And yeah, the frequency of response is, I mean, the general tuning is a little bit more flatter, but without sounding too neutral. So you still get a little bit of fun with these. It's not like a, yes, because you know some headphones like with the Focal Elexes come to mind, and then the Susvaras and HD800s, like I said, they all sound a little bit too flat to the point where it's not that fun. Analytical, sterile, clinical, right? All these words people throw around. You could say that it's just not that fun sounding to me. I guess Focal Clears kind of are like that as well. Just not that fun sounding. But these are still a little bit fun. They're not sterile or clinical or analytical like that. It just sounds smoother and refined compared to the Arias. But then definitely like it is flatter. I can tell. So I would say out of these two, yeah, the Arias are the more fun sounding headphone out of the two, but the HE1000s are, yeah, more technical, a little bit more detail and more smoother and refined, and generally just a little bit flatter. So it's a little bit more reference sounding, but still fun. It's still not like a totally, you know, analytical sounding headphone or anything like that. So I still like these better than the Susvaras, by the way. I did try the Susvaras. I do actually like these better than the $6,000 Susvaras because these, the Susvaras are just fun. That's why I find it's kind of analytical. I really like the detail on the Susvaras, but it's just a little bit analytical. But this one, yeah, it's still got a little bit of fun to it. I think this is tuned just right. But if you do want a little bit more fun, I think that's where the Arias do come in. You're just missing a little bit of the detail and the refinedness of the H1000. But the difference between these two are not that big, honestly. The Arias are still really good. H1000, like there is a difference, but it's not like a massive difference between the two because it's diminishing returns, right? And then the Susvaras in these, like these are originally what, $1,400 MSRP right now. The Susvaras right now MSRP, it originally was $6,000. It went down to $4,200 or something. So let's just say it's $4,000. The difference between this and the Susvaras is not $4,000 for sure. I actually even prefer these headphones to the Susvaras. So that tells you that the diminishing returns is really going to apply the more you move up into headphones. Already I can tell the difference between these two is not that much. Like the difference between this and the one below, which I think is the Anandas, pretty huge difference, honestly. I would say go for the Arias if you can. I think I like these a lot better than the Anandas. But difference between these two, yeah, these are just more smooth and refined, but it's not like a huge difference, and these are actually still more fun sounding. I still prefer these compared to the Arias, but this is to the point where it's like, okay, you can still get the Arias because they're still more fun sounding. These ones are just more, you know, a little bit more flatter, but it's more smooth and refined with a bit more detail. But then these compared to the Susvaras, I actually prefer these. So you know, diminishing returns. Once you get past the $1,000 price range, I think it's almost a matter of preference and taste at that point. So that's where I learned the more higher up I go into headphones. Once you get past a certain point, for speakers, this might be for like $2,000, $3,000 because speakers generally cost more than headphones. But for headphones, I think this is where you get to $1,000 mark. Then it's more like a matter of taste and preference. For IEMs, this is even lower. Like IEMs, you can go to like $500, $600, $700 mark, and at that point you're like, oh, like you can find IEMs that are more expensive, but you might not actually like. So for IEMs, that line for diminishing returns is even lower. So yeah, if you guys get into the audiophile hobby, you guys will know what I'm talking about. The law of diminishing returns is a little bit different for each category, but I think for IEMs it's like $500. Beyond $500, you might actually prefer, you know, under $500 IEMs to like $1,000 IEMs. For over-ear headphones, I think it's $1,000. Once you're at $1,000, it's almost a matter of preference at that point. And then and then for speakers, it's like $2,000, $3,000 maybe. So, anyways, that's it, guys. I'm gonna do a sound test for these two, so you guys can maybe hear a difference or not. Let me know in the comment section below. But yeah, I think these are definitely the single best headphone, open or closed, that I own, technically. So yeah, in terms of the soundstage, detail retrieval, everything, this is pretty much endgame. So yeah, and that's after I said Arya is pretty close to endgame. These are basically endgame. So I'm done. I'm not going to buy any more open backs because, yeah, as far as open backs are concerned, I think I'm done with this. This is as good as it can get for me. I already like this better than the $6,000 as far as, which are the flagship Hifimans. So, I mean, at that point, you know, yeah, how much better can you get? Probably not much better. Also depends what genre you're listening to as well. I mean, that's the other thing I notice when I go up past $1,000 is, yeah, one thing is this preference and tuning. Not necessarily like just one headphone is always better than the other. It really depends on what type of genre or song you're listening to. It might be even track to track. Because like I said, the Aryas are definitely a more fun sounding headphone, a little bit more lively, dynamic. And then the HE1000 is just more smoother, refined, and more of an even balance. So it really depends, right? You might prefer some songs with the Arya, some songs with the HE1000. Overall, I'd say the HE1000 is better technically, but yeah, again, not by much. That's where diminishing returns starts to settle in. So yeah, really depends on what you mostly listen to as well. But yeah, I think generally, overall, the difference I feel is that when I tried on the Arya Stealth, I was like, wow, is this an endgame headphone? And then with the HE1000s, I was like, this is an endgame headphone. So yeah, I guess that's the difference when I tried both of them out. It's a very small, minor, you know, feeling, but I guess that's why you pay that extra money. Those audiophiles really want to, once you go up the chain, right? You know, audiophiles know what I'm talking about here. Once you keep making more and more expensive purchases and going up into more and more expensive products, it's really, you're paying a lot more for that extra small percentage, right, in gains. So another difference I noticed between these two, the Aryas are definitely going to be more fun sounding, but that also means that it might be better for some tracks than others, whereas the HE1000s are just good with every track. Like, I just feel like in general, this is probably overall going to be better. Just the Aryas, yeah, it's, you know, the sound signature is more dynamic, so it's going to work better for some tracks than others. But yeah, overall, HE1000, more smoother, more refined presentation. It's actually kind of similar to the differences between the Bowers & Wilkins PX7S2 and the Bowers & Wilkins PX8, which I reviewed before as well. The PX7S2 is like the Aryas. It's more fun, dynamic sounding, lively. But also, you know, comes with the cons too. It's better for some tracks than others. HE1000, very similar to the Bowers & Wilkins PX8. It's very smooth, more refined presentation, generally good for every track, although albeit not as, you know, fun sounding for some tracks as this one. Yeah, like I said, there are a lot of cases where I would actually prefer to have a more, you know, fun sound signature over having more technicality. So at some point, once you go up the price ladder, tonality will actually matter more than technicality. And I think around this price point is where it happens for me. It's like, yeah, HE1000s, I think beyond this, it's like, yeah, then I would actually prefer tonality at this point, right? It's like, okay, compare this to the Sasvaras, for example, $6,000 headphones. I prefer these because Sasvaras, although more technical, I prefer the tonality of these headphones, of the HE1000s. And yeah, I could say the same for some headphones like the Meze Elites, for example, which I tried, $4,000 headphones. Not that technical actually, but it's a very fun sounding headphone, and I actually preferred it over some more. I actually preferred it over the Sasvaras too, even though Sasvaras is more technical sounding than the Meze Elites. So yeah, like at some point, I'm gonna trade off the accuracy and technicality for just a more fun sound. So yeah, that happens once you move up the ladder. That's how I feel. Stay tuned for the sound comparison test and let me know what you guys feel in the comment section below.